They thought I was weak because I always gave in. They were wrong. I was just waiting for the right moment to show them what real strength looks like. If you've ever been put second by your family, subscribe to this channel. I promise, by the end of this story, you'll see justice served in ways you never expected. I grew up invisible, not physically. I was there at every dinner, every holiday, every family photo. But emotionally, I might as well have been a ghost. My name is Harper, and for 35 years, I lived in the shadow of my younger sister Madison, the golden child who could do no wrong. When we were kids, I learned early that my wants didn't matter as much as hers. Madison wanted my bike? Mom would say, "Harper, you're older, you can share." Madison needed my room because it had better lighting. "Harper, be understanding. Your sister is going through a phase." That phase lasted 6 years. I worked 2 jobs to put myself through state college while living in a cramped apartment with 3 roommates. Meanwhile, Madison got a full ride from Mom and Dad to a private liberal arts school where she changed her major 4 times and graduated with a degree in communications she never used. When I graduated with honors, they couldn't make it to the ceremony. Madison had a really important sorority event. At 28, I helped my parents pay off a chunk of their mortgage, $20,000 from my savings, accumulated penny by penny while working in finance. No one said thank you. It was just expected. But when Madison loaned them $5,000 for a cruise 2 years later, they threw her a appreciation dinner and toasted her generosity. I wasn't invited. I was probably busy with work. When I met Michael at a hospital fundraiser 3 years ago, I thought maybe, finally, something in my life would be just mine. He was a physician, 37, kind in a way that seemed effortless. He remembered small things, how I took my coffee, that I hated cilantro, that Thursdays were my longest days at work. After 2 years of dating, he proposed on a hiking trail overlooking the valley where we'd had our first real conversation. My parents' reaction? "That's nice, honey. You don't need a big wedding like Madison will want someday, right?" I didn't need a big wedding, but I needed them there. Madison was everything I wasn't, effortlessly beautiful with the kind of charm that made strangers want to help her. She'd had 7 jobs in 5 years, each one abandoned when it wasn't fulfilling her creative spirit. My parents always defended her. "Madison is finding herself," Dad would say, as if finding yourself was a full-time career that required parental subsidies. She lived in a trendy downtown loft that Dad helped her afford, drove a car Mom co-signed for, and never seemed to worry about bills because somehow money always appeared. Meanwhile, I'd been financially independent since college, proud and stupid enough to think that meant I'd earned respect. 3 months before my wedding, Madison made an announcement at family dinner. "I'm turning 30, she declared like she'd discovered a new continent. "And I want to celebrate properly. A whole week of events leading up to the big day." Mom clapped her hands together. "Oh, Madison, that sounds wonderful. When are you thinking?" "June 15th, Madison said, looking directly at me. My fork clattered against my plate. "That's my wedding day." "Oh." Madison's face arranged itself into concern, but her eyes held something else. "I didn't realize, but I already told my friends, and you know how hard it is to coordinate everyone's schedules. I'd sent save the dates 8 months earlier." Madison had received one. It was on her refrigerator. I'd seen it the last time I visited her apartment. "Madison, honey, maybe you could choose another weekend," Mom suggested, but her tone was already softening, preparing to cave. "But this is the weekend all my friends are free," Madison said. Her bottom lip trembled slightly, a trick she'd perfected at age 7. "It's my 30th birthday. It only happens once." Dad cleared his throat. "Harper, what about moving your date? I'm sure the venue would understand." I felt Michael's hand find mine under the table, steadying. "We've already put down a non-refundable deposit," I said quietly, "and sent invitations to 150 people. "But this is Madison's milestone," Mom said. "A wedding can happen any time." Something inside me cracked. My wedding is also a milestone. I'd hope my parents would want to be there. The conversation spiraled. Madison cried. Mom comforted her. Dad looked uncomfortable but said nothing in my defense. The pattern was so familiar it felt like a script we'd performed 1,000 times. 2 weeks before the wedding, Mom called. Harper, sweetheart, we need to talk about June 15th. I'd been dreading this call. What about it? Madison really needs us there for her birthday. The main party is that day, and she's planned so much. You understand, don't you? You've always been so understanding. My throat tightened. You're saying you won't come to my wedding. It's not that we won't, honey. It's that we can't. Madison needs us. She's struggling right now. She lost that marketing job, and this party means everything to her. You're strong. You'll be fine. Will I? The words came out sharper than I intended. What about what I need? Don't be dramatic, Harper. You're 35 years old. Madison is more sensitive. Surely Michael's family will be there. You'll hardly notice we're gone. I would notice. I'd notice the empty seats where my parents should sit. I'd notice walking down the aisle alone. I'd notice the absence in every wedding photo for the rest of my life. If you don't come, I said slowly, you're telling me that a birthday party matters more than your daughter's wedding. You're twisting things, Mom said, her voice taking on that martyred tone. We're trying to be fair to both our daughters. But you're only showing up for one. She sighed. I hope someday you'll understand that we're doing our best. We love you both equally. If this was equal love, I'd been getting the dollar store version while Madison got designer. I hung up and stared at my phone, half expecting her to call back, to say she'd reconsidered. She didn't. Michael found me on the couch an hour later, eyes dry but hollow. They're not coming, I told him. He sat beside me, pulling me against his chest. I'm so sorry. They chose a birthday party over my wedding. Then they're fools, he said simply. And it's their loss, Harper. Because you're going to be the most beautiful bride, and they're going to miss it. The morning of June 15th, I woke up alone in a hotel room. Emma, my best friend and maid of honor, had stayed with me until midnight before I sent her to bed. I'd lain awake staring at the ceiling, wondering if my parents might change their minds, might show up anyway. They didn't call. I did my own makeup, my hands steadier than I expected. Emma arrived at 8 with coffee and bagels, her eyes scanning my face for cracks. How are you? She asked carefully. I'm getting married today, I said. That's what matters. They're insane for missing this. You know that, right? I nodded, though I wasn't sure I believed it. Some small hurt part of me still wondered what I'd done wrong, what I could have done differently to be worth showing up for. At the venue, I could see the empty seats where my parents should have been, but I also saw something unexpected. 3 rows of unfamiliar faces in the VIP section up front. Distinguished-looking people in expensive suits, watching the preparations with interest. Who are they? I whispered to Emma. She shrugged. Maybe Michael's colleagues? Uncle Robert, Michael's uncle, a gentleman in his 60s who'd lost his own daughter years ago, approached me quietly. Harper, honey, I know this isn't traditional, but if you'd like, I'd be honored to walk you down that aisle. My eyes burned with tears. I'd promised myself I wouldn't cry. I'd like that very much. When the music started, I took Uncle Robert's arm. The church doors opened, and I saw Michael at the altar, his face lit with joy so pure it steadied me. I saw Emma wiping tears. I saw our friends standing, smiling, and I saw those mysterious VIP guests in front, their attention fixed on me with what looked almost like approval. I didn't look at the empty seats. I looked forward. 3 months before the wedding, Michael and I had sat at our kitchen table with a spreadsheet of names planning the guest list. I want to invite some colleagues, Michael said. If that's okay with you. Of course, I'd replied, highlighting names on my side. How many? Maybe 6 or 7? They're important to me. I'd smiled, distracted by seating arrangements. The more the merrier. What I didn't know, what Michael hadn't fully explained, was that these weren't just co-workers. Michael was more connected than I'd realized. His work at the hospital had put him in orbit with people whose names appeared in newspapers and charity galas. Dr. Patricia Chen, CEO of the Methodist Hospital Network, was the woman in the elegant navy suit in the second row. Michael served on her advisory board for healthcare innovation. He'd told me about the meetings, but somehow I'd missed the significance. James Morrison, the silver-haired man beside her, was a real estate developer whose heart attack Michael had stabilized in the ER 2 years ago. They'd stayed in touch, had become genuine friends. James had told Michael once over drinks, "You didn't just save my life that night. You treated me like a person, not a patient. Not everyone does that." And Senator Richard Hayes, whose face I'd definitely seen on news broadcasts sitting in the third row with his wife, Michael had performed emergency surgery on him after a car accident 3 years ago. Michael had never mentioned it was a senator. He'd just said, "Had an interesting case today." These people hadn't just come out of obligation. During the reception, each of them gave toasts that made my throat tight. Dr. Chen stood, graceful and commanding. I've worked with Michael for 5 years, and I've never met anyone with more integrity in medicine. He sees the person behind the patient. Today, watching him marry Harper, I understand why. He found someone who mirrors his values, someone who gives without expecting recognition. How did she know that about me? Had Michael told her? James Morrison's toast was shorter, but hit harder. This man saved my life when I was a stranger on a gurney. He followed up on my recovery like I was family. That's who Michael is. And Harper, he looked at me directly. Anyone who can win his heart must be extraordinary. Congratulations to you both. Senator Hayes spoke last, his political polish evident, but his emotion genuine. We live in a world that often rewards the loudest voices. Michael taught me that quiet dedication matters more. Harper, your husband is one of the good ones. And having met you today, I can see why he chose you, to partnership in medicine and in marriage. The photographer captured everything, the toasts, the laughter, the dancing, my hand in Michael's, Uncle Robert's proud smile, Emma crying through her maid of honor speech. What the photographer also captured inadvertently was the guest list, names on place cards, faces in group shots, Senator Hayes chatting with a Supreme Court clerk, Dr. Chen laughing with the hospital's chief of surgery. These photos would end up on social media by midnight. Tagged, shared, noticed. While I was dancing with my husband, unaware of the digital storm brewing, Madison was at her birthday party across town, posting relentlessly to Instagram. Best birthday ever. Blessed Jak 30. Chachak family first. The party was smaller than she'd planned, maybe 30 people, mostly her inner circle and our parents. The house was decorated in millennial pink and gold, an elegant spread that probably cost more than my wedding's catering. Mom and Dad appeared in every photo, smiling, raising glasses, celebrating their youngest daughter's milestone. They looked happy, unburdened by guilt. But then, around 10 p.m., one of Madison's friends, a woman named Tessa who worked in PR, scrolled through her Instagram feed and froze. "Madison," Tessa said slowly, "did your sister get married today?" Madison barely looked up from her cake. "Yeah, why?" "There are photos everywhere. Professional ones." Tessa turned her phone around. "Is that Senator Hayes?" Madison's smile vanished. She grabbed the phone, zooming in on the image. There I was in my wedding dress, Michael beside me, and behind us, clearly visible, the senator mid-laugh. Another photo showed Dr. Chen hugging me, congratulating me. The caption from the photographer's account read, "Beautiful ceremony with some amazing guests. Always an honor to photograph love and community coming together." The comments were already piling up. "Is that Dr. Patricia Chen from Methodist?" "Senator Hayes! Wow, what a wedding!" "This couple must be so well connected." Madison scrolled frantically through more posts, her face losing color. There were dozens of photos now, shared by guests, by the venue, by people who'd been tagged, each one showing my wedding as exactly what it was: intimate, elegant, attended by people of substance. And in 0 photos were our parents. Their absence would be notable to anyone who looked closely. No father-daughter dance, no mother of the bride shot, no parents in the family portraits. "Oh my God," Madison breathed. "What?" Mom appeared at her elbow, still holding a glass of champagne. "Harper's wedding. These people—" Madison's voice pitched higher. Dr. Patricia Chen was there. "Who?" "The CEO of Methodist Hospital Network. I have an interview with her Monday for that marketing position." The champagne glass trembled in Mom's hand. What? She was at Harper's wedding. She's in a dozen photos, with Harper. Madison's eyes were wild now. And James Morrison? He owns the luxury apartments I applied to rent. And is that Senator Hayes? Dad pulled out his own phone, searching for the photos Madison was describing. His face went gray as he found them. We didn't know. You knew it was Harper's wedding, Tessa said quietly, then seemed to realize she'd spoken aloud to her friend's parents. Sorry, I just meant... But Madison was already spiraling. My interview is in 2 days. Dr. Chen saw that we chose my birthday party over Harper's wedding. How does that look? What will she think? What would she think? That Madison's family had priorities that didn't include loyalty. That we were the kind of people who ranked a birthday above a wedding. That maybe Madison had learned her values from parents who played favorites. Mom tried to call me that night. 5 times. I was on my honeymoon suite's balcony with Michael, watching the city lights, my phone on silent. By morning, the message notifications had piled up. My phone buzzed continuously when I finally turned the sound back on. Mom. Honey, we need to talk. Mom, please call me back. Dad. Harper, can we talk? It's important. Madison. Can we talk? Madison. Please. Madison. I need to explain. I read them while Michael made coffee. They're panicking, I said. Are you going to answer? I thought about it. About 35 years of being second. About missed graduations and ignored accomplishments and minimized needs. About the empty seats at my wedding. Not yet, I said. Let them sit with it for a while. Monday morning arrived with the weight of consequence. Madison dressed carefully for her interview with Dr. Chen, conservative Navy suit, minimal jewelry, resume printed on expensive paper. She'd rehearsed answers, practiced her smile in the mirror. The Methodist Hospital Network headquarters was glass and steel, modern and imposing. Madison checked in at reception, was directed to the 14th floor, and waited in a tasteful conference room with a view of downtown. Dr. Chen arrived exactly on time, professional and cordial. Madison, thank you for coming in. Thank you for the opportunity, Dr. Chen. They began with the standard questions. Tell me about yourself. Why healthcare marketing? What's your experience with our demographic? Madison answered smoothly, hitting the points she'd prepared. She thought maybe it would be fine. Maybe Dr. Chen hadn't made the connection. Then Dr. Chen sat back, studying her. I believe I met your family this weekend. Madison's carefully constructed composure cracked. Oh, you mean at my sister's wedding? Yes. Harper's wedding. Beautiful ceremony. Dr. Chen's expression remained neutral, but her eyes were sharp. You weren't there? There was a family event. A family event more important than your sister's wedding? The question was delivered politely, but it hung in the air like an indictment. Interesting priorities. Madison tried to salvage it. It was complicated. Schedule conflicts. I see. Dr. Chen glanced at her notes. Let's talk about team dynamics. In healthcare marketing, we're often promoting family-centered care, community values, partnerships. How do you approach building those messages authentically? Every question after that felt loaded. Every answer Madison gave seemed to contradict the unspoken knowledge between them. You're the sister who was more important than a wedding. You're the reason your parents weren't there. The interview ended with the polite death sentence of corporate rejection. We'll be in touch. Madison knew she wouldn't hear back. At home, our parents were dealing with their own fallout. Their church community, where they'd been active members for 20 years, had questions. Margaret, Dad's older sister, called that afternoon. I saw the photos from Harper's wedding. Oh, Dad said weakly. Yes, it looked lovely. Why weren't you there, David? The silence stretched. Madison needed us. Her birthday! You chose a birthday party over your daughter's wedding. Margaret's voice was flat with disappointment. I raised you better than this. You don't understand the whole situation. I understand that Harper walked down the aisle without her father. I understand that your daughter married a good man who knows people like Senator Hayes and Dr. Chen, and you weren't there to see it. I understand that you've probably been making this choice for years, and Harper finally had enough. Dad couldn't respond. What could he say? Margaret was right. Their friends at church were more subtle but equally pointed. Such a beautiful ceremony, someone would say. We saw the photos. You must be so proud. The unspoken question. Then why weren't you there? Mom tried calling me again. Harper, please, we need to talk. We didn't understand. We didn't know. What didn't they know? That my wedding would matter? That I deserved their presence? That I'd married someone whose quiet integrity had earned him relationships with people who changed policy and saved lives? Or did they just not know there would be consequences? I called back on Tuesday afternoon. Mom answered on the first ring. Harper, oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Sorry about what? My voice was calm, too calm. We should have been there. We didn't realize. Didn't realize what, Mom? That my wedding was important? That I wanted my parents there? Or didn't realize there would be witnesses to your choice? That's not fair. What's not fair? I said, each word deliberate, is 35 years of being told I'm the understanding one, the strong one, the one who doesn't need as much attention. What's not fair is working 2 jobs through college while Madison got a free ride and still graduating with honors you couldn't attend. What's not fair is giving you $20,000 and getting no thank you while Madison loans you $5 and gets a party. Harper, we love you both equally. Then show me, because love isn't what you say in moments like this. Love is what you do in moments like June 15th. Mom was crying. What do you want from us? I want you to understand that I'm not asking for more than Madison. I'm asking for the same, and I'm done accepting less. I hung up before she could respond. That evening, Madison called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Harper. Her voice was small, younger than 30. Can we meet, please? We met at a neutral coffee shop, neither of our territories. Madison arrived first, looking diminished in a way I'd never seen. No makeup, hair in a messy bun, yoga pants instead of her usual designer outfit. How was your interview? I asked, though I knew. She was at your wedding. I know. She asked why I wasn't there. Madison's hands wrapped around her untouched latte. I couldn't explain it. I tried, but anything I said just made it sound worse. Because it was worse. She flinched. I know, okay? I didn't think. You never think, Madison. That's the problem. You want what you want, and everyone scrambles to give it to you, and you never consider what it costs anyone else. That's not. She stopped herself. Maybe that's true. The admission surprised me. I didn't get the job, she continued, and James Morrison's company rejected my rental application. And some of my friends are being weird, asking why we were so important that Mom and Dad skipped your wedding. Are you here to apologize or to ask me to fix this? I don't know. She looked up, eyes red. Both? Neither, Harper. I don't know how to fix this. It's not your job to fix it. It's not fixable. What's done is done. So what now? I took a breath. Years of therapy and self-help books and late-night conversations with Emma crystallizing into clarity. Now I set boundaries. I'll see you at holidays, maybe. I'll be civil. But I'm done being the sister who sacrifices so you can shine. I'm done being convenient. That's it? We just stop being sisters? We've never been sisters in the way that matters. I was the supporting character in your story. I'm the main character in mine now. Madison left crying. I stayed and finished my coffee, feeling lighter than I had in years. 3 months passed. Summer faded into fall. Michael and I returned from a delayed honeymoon in Greece, tanned and happy and deliberately disconnected from family drama. My parents tried to rebuild the bridge, but I set the terms. Sunday dinners became twice monthly, and I left after 3 hours regardless of protests. Holiday plans were negotiated, not assumed. Financial help was permanently off the table. We're trying, Dad said during one uncomfortable dinner. I know, I replied. Keep trying. Madison got a marketing job at a smaller healthcare company, not the prestige position she'd wanted, but steady work. She stopped posting constant selfies. Her Instagram went quieter, more authentic. Maybe consequences were teaching her something, or maybe not. I'd stopped making that my responsibility. In October, Michael and I announced my pregnancy at a small dinner with close friends. Emma screamed. Uncle Robert cried. We called my parents afterward, not wanting them to hear it from someone else. "Oh, Harper, that's wonderful!" Mom's voice cracked with emotion and unspoken apologies. "We're having a baby shower in December," I said. "You're invited. So is Madison." "We'll be there," Dad promised. "Only if you want to be," I corrected. "Not because you feel obligated, not because it's expected, because you want to be part of my life, my family, my child's life." December arrived with early snow and string lights and the kind of cold that made hot chocolate mandatory. The baby shower was at Emma's house, decorated in gender-neutral yellows and greens, because we'd decided to be surprised. My parents arrived early, bringing an heirloom cradle from Dad's family that I'd never known existed. "We used this for you and Madison," Mom said quietly. "We'd like you to have it." It felt like an olive branch carved from generations of wood and intention. Madison came too, bringing a practical gift, a diaper bag with an organizational system that was so quintessentially Madison it made me smile. She stayed near the edges of the party, not commanding attention for once, just present. Near the end of the afternoon, after most guests had left, Mom approached me in the kitchen where I was packing leftovers. "Harper, I know I can't take back what I did. I can't give you back your wedding day with us there." I continued wrapping cookies in foil, not helping her. "But I want to be there for this baby. For you. I want to do better." I set down the cookies and looked at her directly. "Mom, you don't need to be there for the baby to make this right. You need to be there for me. That's what you've never understood. It's not about the next milestone or the next event. It's about seeing me consistently, choosing me consciously, not just when it's convenient or when there are witnesses." Tears tracked down her face, aging her in the kitchen light. "I see you now. I'm trying to see you now." "Then keep trying, not because I'm pregnant, not because I'm married to someone connected, because I'm your daughter, and I deserve that." She nodded, unable to speak. The baby came in March, a girl we named Charlotte. My parents visited the hospital, held their granddaughter with reverent care, and didn't overstay their welcome. They were learning. Madison sent flowers and visited once, staying briefly, not trying to make it about her. She was learning too. Michael's colleagues, Dr. Chen, James Morrison, even Senator Hayes, sent gifts and congratulations. We'd become something unexpected to them, proof that good people still existed, that quiet integrity mattered, that love didn't need an audience to be real. On Charlotte's first night home, Michael and I sat in the nursery at 3 a.m., taking turns rocking her while she fought sleep. The house was quiet, except for her small noises and the creak of the rocking chair. "Do you regret it?" Michael asked softly. "How everything happened with your family?" I thought about it, about the empty seats at our wedding, about the boundaries I'd built, about the relationships I'd redefined on my terms. "No," I said finally. "I regret that it took me 35 years to demand what I deserved, but I don't regret demanding it." "You taught them how to love you." "I taught them how to respect me. The love was always there. They just showed it to Madison louder." Charlotte finally settled, her breathing evening into sleep. We laid her in the cradle my parents had given us, the one that had held me, had held Madison, that would now hold my daughter. "I won't do that to her," I whispered. "If we have more kids, I won't make one invisible so the other can shine." "I know you won't." Michael's hand found mine in the darkness. "You'll teach her what you learned, that love isn't about sacrifice until you disappear. It's about being seen." A year after the wedding, almost to the day, we hosted a backyard barbecue for Charlotte's first birthday. It was casual, picnic tables, paper plates, kids running through sprinklers. My parents came, Madison came, Emma and her new boyfriend came, Uncle Robert came, some of Michael's hospital friends came. No senators this time, no CEOs. Just people who cared about us, about Charlotte, about showing up. Madison helped set up, hanging streamers without being asked. Dad manned the grill, making his terrible jokes that Charlotte was too young to appreciate. Mom took 1,000 photos, capturing moments she'd learned not to take for granted. At one point, Madison and I found ourselves alone by the coolers, restocking drinks. "You won," she said quietly. "This wasn't a competition, Madison." "Wasn't it always?" She handed me a bottle of lemonade. "You were the good one. I was the fun one. You were reliable. I was exciting. We both played our roles." "And now?" "Now I'm trying to figure out who I am when I'm not the favorite." She smiled, but it was sad. "Turns out, being the favorite didn't do me any favors. I'm 31 and I don't know how to handle disappointment. You've been handling it your whole life." "That's not the flex you think it is." "No, but it's the truth." She grabbed a beer for herself. "I'm sorry I took it for granted. All of it. You." It wasn't the apology I'd needed a year ago, but it was something. "I'm sorry you had to learn the hard way." "I'm not." She surprised me by meaning it. "I needed to fall. I needed to lose something. It's the only way I was going to grow up." We stood there in the June sunshine, two sisters who'd taken 30-some years to see each other clearly, holding cold drinks and watching a baby smash cake into her face while grandparents laughed. The story didn't end with revenge or vindication or dramatic confrontation. It ended with boundaries and growth and the slow, hard work of rebuilding what had been broken, or building it right for the first time. That night, after everyone left and Charlotte was asleep and the yard was cleaned up, Michael and I collapsed on the couch. "Good party," he said. "Yeah, it was." "Your parents seemed different, more present." "They're trying. It's not perfect, but it's better." He kissed my temple. "You didn't need them to change for you to be happy." "No," I agreed, "but I'm glad they're trying anyway." On the coffee table, my phone buzzed with a text from Mom. "Thank you for today. Thank you for giving us another chance. We love you." I typed back, "Love you too. See you next month." Not next week, not tomorrow, next month. Because I'd learned that love without boundaries was just another word for sacrifice, and I was done sacrificing myself to make other people comfortable. Charlotte made a noise on the monitor, not crying, just resettling. The sound of my daughter, safe and loved and completely unaware of the complicated history that led to her. "You know what the best part is?" I said to Michael. "What?" "She'll grow up knowing she matters. Not more than any future siblings, not less. Just exactly as much as she should, completely. Because you'll make sure of it. Because we'll make sure of it." The house settled into nighttime quiet, full of the peaceful sounds of a life built on my own terms. A life where I wasn't the invisible daughter or the understanding sister or the one who always gave in. Just Harper, wife, mother, woman who learned, finally, that the right moment to show your strength isn't when people expect it, it's when you need it most. And I had.